Good Friday evening, everybody. Welcome to the Denver Bronco Roundup, brought to you by Rocky Mountain Sports Network, and of course, sponsored by the amazing Morgan Trinkets. My name is Keith Brugman, man, and I'm going to start off with a question not just for everybody I see on screen, which I'll introduce in just a second, but everybody in the posse. First, I'll start with Trevor, then I'll go to Jody. Trevor, the Rocket Man, are you ready for Raiders Week, sir?
Absolutely. I've been ready. I mean, again, something that all Broncos fans and anybody that covers the team is just, ready for. And it's time that to snap that 8-game losing streak against the Raiders since 2019. I mean, it's like, wow, it's been a long time since we've seen a W against the Raiders. So now's the time to do it. Knock them while they're down.
Knock them while they're down. He's ready for Raiders Week. Jody, the Judge Moncrief, man, are you ready for Raiders Week?
Yeah, I definitely am. This is a must-win with a team that's reeling. Hopefully, all three phases can get it going this week.
Very good, man. Paul came in here over on YouTube. I mean, super early. Paul, we appreciate you a ton. He has the first question. He's been waiting too long, so I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to serve it up right to you, gentlemen, right off the bat. He says, first question, does Lucas Kroll look like Tarzan, play like Jane? Because we need a tight end, man. What's up with Lucas Kroll? It might not be Dulcich. Do you see somebody else hitting the field? I'll start off with the Judge.
This might be a conspiracy theory, but I think it pissed Peyton off when everyone said that he was the number one guy in training camp and was balling out, and Peyton is gonna make a point to show that he's not. Because Nate Atkins, Adam Troutman, Greg Dulcich, who can't catch the ball, have done nothing, and we still don't dress the guy. So I don't. If the reports are all true that he was balling out during training camp, why is he not getting a chance with these other guys doing nothing?
I'll give you Greg Dulcich for sure. I do think that Troutman's shown up at least in the blocking game. I don't know if that's something that Kroll can do, but he can certainly take Dulcich's place. What is your thoughts there, Rocket Man?
Yeah, I mean, we can't forget about Mr. Donald Parham Jr. as well, another big tight end that's just sitting on the practice squad right now. We haven't seen him yet. Hopefully down the line they'll be able to use this guys. I think Parham and Kroll can be used in the red zone. Other than that, I'm not sure what they could bring in between the lines. But yeah, I mean, but I don't just blame the tight ends for what's happening because Bo Nix is missing guys downfield. I think it's part of this is the quarterback play being, where it is right now. Bo Nix has been a little inconsistent. Had one really good game, but had 3 games that were, a little bit kind of, just okay, or 2 struggles also. So I don't just point this to the tight end room. I think, I think it's also a quarterback issue. And I think, once we see Bo Nix kind of, but it's one of those things where it's a rookie quarterback, and it's one of those things that if Bo Nix works through his struggles, I think we'll start seeing better play from the wide receivers and the tight ends. Not trying to say that Denver doesn't need a tight end. I just don't think it's just as bad as it has been. And I don't blame them specifically for how poor this offense has been or inconsistent it's been this point in time this season, early on this season.
The one thing I'll say to that is you need to show up for a rookie quarterback, and dropping obvious catchable passes is something that's almost inexcusable in order to try to get a rookie quarterback in rhythm, in time. And, we talk about it all the time. We want to stay, in sequence, as Sean Payton would say. Jody, I'll give you 2 seconds on it as well, and then I got to hit the posse.
I was going to say, even in Bo Nix's best game, Greg Dulcich did nothing. So he's done nothing really for me except drop passes, important passes, and I'm not really sure he doesn't block. So that's 50% of right away why he still is getting massive. I mean, they demoted Javonte Williams last week. He didn't get the first carry last week, and he didn't get the second carry either. I mean, he was the third running back to touch the ball. So why is Greg Dulcich getting chance after chance?
Yeah. As I said, I think that's a perfect opportunity for somebody else to come up. I liked what Atkins have done. I liked what Troutman have done, at least in the blocking game. But Dulcich has actually failed there as well. So I don't think you have any downside to replacing him in the lineup, at least that for that first snap. Good call. Paul's giving us a what's up and a mile high salute. Paul, appreciate you very much. Graham's coming in here clapping it up. Graham, thank you very much, and congratulations on your brand new job, man. Appreciate you letting us know. Check out Graham. He's got some cool stuff going on, maybe with the K&K Sports Show. Ernie Mays, speaking of jobs, congratulations on your retirement, Ernie, and birthday. He says, go Broncos country only. Go Bo Nix for 6, and hello to all 3 of us. So Paul's liking the favorite team. Nix is my favorite, or SEAL Team Nix is my favorite. SEAL Team Nix. We'd like to see that. Adam and Kayla coming in here and saying, have a great night ahead. Let's go Broncos. Absolutely. Roy's coming in saying, hey there, Horseman and the posse, hoping for a Broncos win. Absolutely. I think we all are. And I think there's reason to have hope. And we'll talk about that here in a second. Pearl, our amazing owner of Morgan Trinkets, our amazing sponsor, is coming up here and saying, hello. Hi. How you doing, Pearl? It's good to see you. Corey Coleman coming in over on YouTube saying, what's up, fellas? Solid game between my Hawks and your Broncos a few weeks ago. Yeah, it was good talking to you about that. Seahawks have had their struggles, but also had some great highlights along the way. So it'll be good to see them face off against the 49ers coming up, see what they're really made of, see if they can take down the 49ers who've been kind of owning the NFC West. Adam is coming in, or maybe Kayla, and saying going to be a big win. Bo gets back on track. We'll talk about that as well. Patrick Wiltsey coming in and saying, aloha, gents, Raiders stink. Okay. Well, hey, absolutely. It's Raiders week, man. Pile it on. Be nice. Don't go over the top now. But, hey, it's Raiders week. We need to get a little bit rallied up, a little bit heated up, a little bit, rivalry. Come on, guys. It's a rivalry. And if we want to win, we got to have a little heart and a little bit of passion behind it. So I'm going to head over to you guys. You guys brought up a couple of points, a couple of that we actually had on the agenda. And now I'm looking for all my notes that I had here just 2 seconds ago. There we go. Got them. Don't worry about it. I was thinking when Jody was talking about this, so I'm going to jump to this first. Jody, you mentioned that this is a must win this week, a must win against this Raiders team. I want you to give me one reason why this is a must win. Trevor, I'm going to go to you for the second reason. I'll take the third one. Give me one reason why this is a must win game. Jody, thank you.
It's a must win because the Raiders are down, and if you want to show that you're a playoff team this year, this is a game that you have to win against a team that is reeling. Their number one wide receivers out. They have a laundry list of hurt guys. Your defense has been balling all year. That's why it's a must win.
Defense has been balling all year. You mentioned it. I'll just go into it just a tad. I just want to talk about who's in, who's out, and who's, like you said, who's reeling. And now I swear, every time I look around, I'm losing my notes. So I'm going to go to you first, Trevor. Trevor, one reason why this Denver Broncos team must win this game versus the Raiders as they come into town, into the Mile High City.
Because if you want to make the playoffs, you have to start winning in division games. And arguably on the schedule, other than the Panthers, and then also obviously the Raiders potentially, what other game is there that's favorable in Denver's matchup? In Denver's favor as far as matchup wise. There's nothing there because you have the Chargers after this week against the Raiders. Then Baltimore, we have the Chiefs. So it's just like you have to start taking care of business against teams that you should be. And the Raiders, again, knock them when they're down. There's nothing special about them right now. They're having issues already in the locker room. Obviously, this is why Devontae Adams wants out. I'm surprised he stayed there long as he did, honestly, when they moved off of Derek Carr. But it's time to win. If you want to make a statement and show that you're a hungry, young team and you want to make the playoffs, you have to start winning in division games. And it's overdue to beat the Raiders. 8 years since this team has beat the Raiders. Way too long. Start putting your stamp on this season now if you want to show and really show that you are a contender, and it can be you have your sights seen on the playoffs and something that you want to do going forward.
Did you find that injury list?
I did. I got it all lined out right in front of me. I'll go to that. I just wanted to say Trevor overstayed a little bit. Not 8 years, 8 games. Going back to those of 2019, that's like 5 years of waiting for a win. But yeah, 8 games. 8 games. 8 times we've lost to the Raiders, and this has not been a good Raiders team. I'm going to double up on what you said, Jody. It's the injuries that we need to talk about, and if you even want to talk about the depth chart, we can go on that as well. Right now, I'll just go through it. Max Crosby is questionable, though he's expected to play. I'm just going through where it's at. Divine Diablo, questionable. Thayer Munford, out. DeCamerion Richardson is out, cornerback. Michael Mayer, tight end, out. I'm going to mess up. Kane, Manga, questionable. Linebacker. Devontae Adams, out. Wide receiver. Dylan Parham, questionable, guard. Tyreek McAllister, questionable, wide receiver. Trey Taylor, out, safety. Luke Masterson, out, linebacker. And Zamir White, out, running back. If you flip over to the Broncos side, just to give you a little bit of a glimpse into there, Tyler Beatty, out. That's at the end of the Broncos list. We're coming in here healthy, and even if you look all the way down this depth chart, it's tough to find anybody on this team that's scary. Max Crosby is their scariest player. Devontae Adams is their scariest player. We're talking about a guy that's questionable. We're talking about a guy that's out. They're coming into the Mile High City. If nothing else, this Denver Broncos defense should absolutely own this game. There is no reason that you should be worried about Gardner Minshew, Alexander Madison. I don't even know who their next wide receiver is after Trey Taylor. I might have to look again at their depth chart because it's scary bad. Jacoby Myers. Thank you. Jacoby Myers. Whew. As formidable as this Raiders team has been in the past, we talk about Josh Jacobs and the like. This team is hurting, I think, right now. They're hurting top to bottom. Antonio Pierce taking the field might be one of the scariest players, in my opinion. You got to get this win. I think I want to go ahead and I want to hit some of the comments really quick, see where we're at, because I think we got a good one coming in from Dan. I want to get to it as well. But I also wanted to say hello to Michael Ronquillo. By the way, he came in a little bit earlier, pointing it out and it's a good thing that you do, Michael, because honestly, my phone's about ready to die, and it's almost ready to die for good. Thank goodness for technology, everybody. But he's coming in here and saying, good evening, Keith, Trevor, and Jody, and go Bo Broncos, dropping 100 stars as he's doing it. Michael, we appreciate you. Thank you so much. Anybody that can come in here, drop some stars, help us out. I have an idea. I'll talk with the gentleman on the screen maybe after the show about how we maybe can give back to all of the posse and those who have followed and liked and shared and subscribed and been with us for, years now. And we appreciate you so much. Graham saying thank you for giving him a little bit of love. We appreciate you, Graham. So glad things are going well for you. So I wanted to get to, like I said, I wanted to get to one that Dan brought up here. Might end up scrolling way too far. Boy, you guys are just blowing it up tonight. If I can even find Dan's comment, but it really focused around this, and it's another question that Jody brought to the agenda. Is this the game that Bo Nix starts getting it going? I mean, really getting it going, because I think we saw a glimpse down in Tampa, but boy, did we feel like we took a step backwards when we saw the game up in New York versus the Jets. I mean, it was Tebow-esque, Jody. It looked Tebow-esque to me. So you brought it up. Is this the game where we start seeing everything start to come together for Bo Nix? What are your thoughts on this? And I want to get Trevor's too. Please, Posse, jump in. I'm going to get Dan's question up here as well, or thoughts as well.
Yeah, I think it is. he needs to build off of that Tampa game. I'm going to close my eyes to last week. The weather played a major part in it. I know that wasn't the only thing, but it affected him all game. So I'm going to look the other way. Maybe I shouldn't, but I'm going to look the other way on that and chalk that up to weather. Build off of the Tampa game. One thing I didn't like in the Jets game, it seemed like they tried to run the same game plan in the beginning. He ran tried to throw that same back shoulder fade to Sutton right at the beginning of the game. He needs to change some things up a little bit. Hopefully, Javonte Williams found something in the run game. Hopefully, he can build off of that. That will help the pass game. And hopefully, another receiver besides Cortland Sutton will step up. I've seen enough of Josh Reynolds drop big passes and big moments. That slant on third down, he catches that. They don't even get a chance to kick a field goal. Sean Payton either quit playing games with Marvin Mims or figure something out there, because he says he's an important part of this offense, but yet you don't play him. You've got two speed guys open this field. It's time, in my opinion, let Bo Nix have the whole playbook and let it go. One thing that I think is hurting Bo Nix a little bit is I think Peyton's ingrained in him so much, get the ball out quick, that gets indecisive sometimes, and because he knows he's got to get the ball out quick. Maybe if he held the ball a second longer or something to diagnose the field when your O-line is giving you a great pocket, his to get the ball out is just so quick that sometimes it rushes him when he doesn't need to be rushed.
It's a good point. I want to throw back one more question to you before I go over to Trevor, though. Do you think the wide receivers that have been selected game day to be on the field is an indication of where we want to get the run game going, and a lot of these short intermediate passes to wide receivers on screens and stuff like that to get blocking in place for all these guys? And that's why we're not seeing necessarily like a Mims or, Troy Franklin per se, when you might be able to put out a larger body that, or a more formidable blocker per se. Jody, what are your thoughts on that, man?
I want to say yeah, but he doesn't try to throw it deep as it is, so to get guys backed off. So I don't know what the or let me start that over. He doesn't try to commit to the run all the way anyway. So I don't know why you want receivers in there that are going to block when you're not really committing to the run as it is. So
okay,
if you're going to commit to the run, then you don't have the right guy. Then Greg Dulcich, get off the field, get all these guys that don't block off the field and commit to it, or get serious and open the field up a little bit. I have yet to see Troy Franklin, just run a straight go route, or Cortland Sutton run a go route and you throw a 50-50 ball to him. That's how you're going to back some of these teams up until we see Bo Nix complete a 40-yard deep pass or 30-yard deep pass. It's not going to change. I mean, the one 20-yard deep slant to Sutton last week, that teams will give that up once or twice a game. They're not worried about that. You've got to back them off. And, look at Russ last year. I mean, Peyton was not scared to let Russ throw the ball deep at all. And it's like this year we are totally scared to let him throw deep.
I don't want to look at Russ last year, but I appreciate your efforts on that. No, I understand where you're coming
from. You know what I'm
from,
saying, though? A lot of Russ's passes were really deep down the field, and
I get it, brother.
We haven't seen. I would like to see 2 or 3 a quarter, or 1 a quarter, or something, just to back them off.
Very good. I'm going to throw this over to Trevor. I'm going to bring Dan's question back up, because the question it says, do you really think Bo Nix is a franchise QB, or do you think he's maybe Drew Lock 2.0? Trevor, I know we're only a quarter of the way into a rookie season. I hate to even ask questions of, this magnitude of a rookie quarterback, but maybe put this into context. What does he need to do not to be the next Drew Lock 2.0, especially in this game?
Yeah, he just needs to learn from his mistakes. I think Bo's a very smart, quarterback. I think that's what he has on Drew Lock. There's some things that to like about Bo. Again, gets the ball out quickly, and it's not just about get the ball quickly. He doesn't take negative yards hardly ever. So those sacks, I mean, he's pretty smart on how he gets rid of the football, and it's not intentional grounding or anything like that. Which is a great quality to have in a quarterback, and I think you will always have a spot in this league if you can do that and not get penalized for like an intentional grounding or anything. But for me, I think just Bo just has to learn from his mistakes. I mean, he's been, inconsistent over, 4 games. He's had one really good game. We've seen the signs that are kind of there where he can start trending towards being that franchise guy. Again, I don't want to harp on him right now. There's stats out there that I could throw out there, but I'm not going to harp on a rookie quarterback and any of these rookie quarterbacks because they're going into the NFL and it's a completely different environment. It's a completely different game and speed than what they were used to in college. So before we start throwing stats out there, about Bo Nix and his accuracy and stuff like that. Again, I'm just not going to do that right now. It's not the right time to do that. But I do think it starts with him learning from his mistakes. Drew Lock just never has learned from his mistakes, and I think Bo mentally I think he has it. I mean, I think he's just very, very smart, and I think that it's kind of shown already. It just got to start getting, start playing onto the field where he can start getting accurate and make those throws with confidence. And I think over time he'll find that in the chemistry with these wide receivers and tight ends, as the season goes on, I think it'll get better and I think it'll improve.
Yeah. I'm sure I'm not the only one that watched a game last night on Thursday Night Football, but holy cow. Talk about a guy that went out there and obviously had confidence. Here's a Kirk Cousins that went out there. He's been struggling in the first few weeks, not looking all that great. People a little bit concerned at times, as he started off the season. He took that next step and he started really looking in control. And the one thing I don't want to pick too much on it, but I would like to see a little bit tighter, a little bit higher velocity ball from Bo Nix at times as well. It sometimes, especially in that New York game, and I know that weather certainly comes into play, but throughout this first 4 games, not the most impressive balls coming off his hand and getting to receivers at times. And deep opportunities need to be on both sides because I think that we have went deep at times and, unfortunately, weren't able to hook up on those opportunities. And a lot of times that was a Bo Nix type of opportunity. Those are the type of things that we need to give opportunity, as Jody said, maybe as at least a 50-50 ball and not be throwing it out of bounds per se, at least one play that comes to mind. So Bo Nix needs to step up, but I think he has a great opportunity to, because I don't think this is a very formidable defense. I think they're reeling in a lot of ways. One of the ways that they might be reeling, and Pearl had a question here. She wanted to know, do we think that Max Crosby is still going to be an issue? Trevor, Max Crosby is, well, let's face it, when healthy, elite, probably one of the best pass rushers in the league. He's hurt. He's been injured. He's been trying to get ready for this game. It looks like he's going to go, even though he's listed as questionable. Does a 70-80% Max Crosby still make a difference in this game? How much is that going to be an issue when we talk about lining up against like a Garrett Bowles, for instance?
Yeah, it's gonna be, anytime Max Crosby steps on the field, it's an issue, and you always have to be mindful of him. Christian Wilkins as well, the stud defensive tackle they got this past offseason, they paid big money to. Another guy we're gonna have to worry about and watch out for. But what I like though in this matchup, I like for Denver because Bo Nix, he frustrates edge rushers and pass rushers when they are coming after him to the point where they're jumping off sides. We've seen that in the Tampa Bay game. He gets the ball so quickly sometimes. It may not always be completion, but he doesn't take sacks, and I think that's going to frustrate Max Crosby. And you have to just learn how to take him out of the game. And if that's whether that's double teaming him or just kind of going away from him, maybe trying to get the running game going a little bit, just tire him out just a little bit. But of course, Max Crosby is going to be a big part of this game. I think even a 70-80% Max Crosby is still an elite edge rusher. But Christian Wilkins is another guy I want to make sure we're not forgetting about, as he can be a very good pass rusher and can stop the run at a pretty high rate as well. So I think Max Crosby will definitely be an issue and something that this team's going to have to be mindful of offensively.
I want to switch it up for you, Jody. Paul's coming in here. He has a kind of a statement I want you to get your thoughts on. He says, Peyton has made some bad calls, but he is an aggressive, offensive-minded coach. He isn't used to having a good defense and a bad offense. What are your thoughts around that?
Yeah, I agree. He's made some bad calls. I think he's been very, very conservative calling the offense so far. Even in the Tampa game, we didn't really see. I mean, it's kind of a lot of the same short, not really even intermediate, just a lot of short stuff. And for what do you have? 20 some completions for just barely over 200. I mean, he had an efficient game and stuff. I would like to, if you go back and watch some prime Drew Brees, I mean, we're seeing a lot of 20, 25 yards over the middle. He's throwing deep stuff. Like to see him open it up a little bit. Trust this O-line. It's been 2 weeks, no sacks. Bo Nix is getting time. So trust this O-line and open things up a little bit and see what that does. If it doesn't work, what do you lose? You go back to where you were?
Very true. Kenny Kirkpatrick, you all should know this name. Kenny Kirkpatrick of the amazing K&K Sports Show. Check out everything they have going on, from a Let's Talk Broncos to a Giants show to Wits and Wagers. You name it, they got a plethora of shows going on. But he's coming in here, and Trevor, I'll throw this over to you. He says, no, this is the game, the running game needs to take the next step. I have lots of concerns, so there's no one besides Sutton and zero production for the tight ends. But he's thinking it should be the running game that gets going, not necessarily the Bo Nix experience that we will have come this Sunday. And Paul's kind of chiming in well, saying Javonte needs 15 carries minimum. Trevor, you said you had a question of whether this running game is back. What are your thoughts, man? Do you think this running game is back?
I think it's showing signs. I think it's good to see Javonte Williams start to step up when you need him. I don't know, it took him a little bit to kind of get his footing back underneath him. I think he was seeing holes a little bit better. The offensive line play has helped a little bit as well. But I absolutely do agree with Kenny too. I think that not necessarily that you just have to run the ball heavy this game and be productive, but just have a balanced attack, because this Raiders defense, in my opinion, just doesn't do anything overly elite. Yes, Max Crosby's a problem. Yes, Christian Wilkins is a problem. They can be even more of a problem if you let them. But again, I think that you can have a balanced attack in this game and be just fine. I mean, the Raiders are giving up 5.1 yards per rushing attempt they have this year. So it's one of those things where I think you can take advantage of that and you can run the ball. And I think that you need to see it. I mean, if Bo Nix is going to be successful going forward, he's got to have a running game there to help him out. Bo Nix dropping back 40 plus times is not the recipe of success for him going forward. So absolutely, I do think this running game can get back on track. I don't think they're fully back yet. I'm not ready to say that, but I do think the signs are there for them to start kind of making positive strides going forward.
Very good. One thing that is a perfect recipe, that's our sponsor, Morgan Trinkets. Morgan Trinkets has the perfect recipe for, well, what do we always say, guys? Southwest Jewelry, Southwest Pottery, and Estate Gold at wholesale prices. It's all right. I got it. All of a sudden, actually, I'll be honest, I blanked. Southwest Jewelry, Southwest Pottery, and Estate Gold at wholesale prices. They have over 33 years experience, once a nationwide company, now just in the backyard of, the Mile High City, northern Colorado, southern Wyoming. That's where they do most of their business. They have a fantastic Facebook page where you can see lots of their inventory, and you can get a hold of Pearl and say, Pearl, this is what I'm looking for. And Pearl has an amazing, amazing load of inventory. Imagine she'll find the perfect piece just for you. So reach out to Morgan Trinkets if you are looking for Southwest Jewelry, Southwest Pottery, and Estate Gold at wholesale prices. By the way, on that Facebook page, she takes transactions through PayPal, and any purchase over $50 is absolutely free. Also, amazing shows in the northern Colorado, southern Wyoming area, where else you'll take all major credit cards and you'll walk away with your purchase that day. I'll drop the link, but check out Morgan Trinkets today for all your Southwest Jewelry, Southwest Pottery, and Estate Gold at wholesale prices. I got to get to a brand new name, gentlemen. And I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to throw it over to Trevor first, and I want to go to Jody second. Trevor, Bambino's coming in, and he says, I hope you guys overlook Bambino 2678 over on YouTube. I'm sorry. My all of a sudden my headphones cut out. I hope you guys overlook Brock Bowers, and he has a big game. You know, I said I looked over this roster, and there was nobody that really scared me, but I'll be honest, we were all kind of pining at one point for possibly Brock Bowers being a Denver Bronco, and then he ended up being a Las Vegas Raider. Trevor, what are your thoughts about, unfortunately, maybe a Gardner Minshew to a Brock Bowers connection lighting up the Denver Broncos?
Yeah, that's one of those things where I think he's an X factor in this game, in my opinion. I know the Jacoby Myers gets a lot of, well, he's going to be an issue, yeah, but Surtain's probably going to be on Jacoby Myers. And, we've seen what Surtain can do against number one wide receivers like Jacoby Myers. I think is really solid number two. I think still has yet to prove he's number one, but Brock Bowers, Denver's, in the past struggles covering tight ends. So it's going to be a test to the defense. Absolutely. I agree with Bambino here. And again, we appreciate you checking in this podcast, and it's great to have you. Even as a Raiders fan, we still accept all fans. No, I think Brock Bowers,
but we do.
Yeah. But Brock Bowers, yeah, he's one of those guys that we evaluated through the draft. And again, it's a battle of the 12th overall pick with Bo Nix. And it's a battle and the 13th overall pick in Brock Bowers. And, again, we'll see which one wins. But yeah, Brock Bowers, I think, will be an issue and something that Denver's going to have to be mindful of when he's out there, because I think that his reps and his targets will start to go up with Davante Adams out.
Good point. Jody, what are your thoughts, man? I know that we were all kind of looking at Brock Bowers, like I said, as a Bronco, maybe, possibly at one point. Brock Bowers is certainly a formidable well, let's face it, we all like to have him. What are your thoughts on Brock Bowers and how he matches up against this Denver Broncos defense?
I mean, he's a good tight end, but he is only still a rookie. It's only going into his fifth game. Really hasn't shown much the last two games. Last week, only one catch for 12 yards. But like Trevor said, with Davante Adams out, he is somebody you got to watch out for now. I trust what Vance Joseph's done. We really haven't seen a tight end do anything this year. I think Otten for Tampa Bay was probably the most with like 40 yards when they were kind of garbage time yards at the end. Just keep doing what you're doing, and I think we'll be fine. If all else fails, you can always go block him up with PS2. So
I like it. I'm still having some headphone issues. It keeps cutting in and out, so bear with me. But I wanted to get this one back over to Jody. Corey's coming in and he's saying Sean is trying too hard to feature Nix, and he needs to run the ball. According to him, a Seattle fan, he says that really showed in the Seattle game. Do you think that we're trying to feature Bo Nix too much and trying to throw the ball too much and ask too much of Nix, and it should just be more running?
I don't know if he's trying to feature him too much, because we've seen the same thing last year with Russ. Everyone screamed run the ball more, and we were getting 35, 40 times a game passing. So that's kind of where I'm at now with it. It's like banging your head against a brick wall. I'm not going to continue to ask to run the ball more. We know Sean Payton is going to throw the ball. So get creative with how some of these passes to make it like a run game, if that's what you're going to do. And get creative with the runs when you do run them. Try pistols, some other stuff that can get creative, because I don't think you're going to see Peyton run the ball 30, 40 times. It's just not going to happen. It's not in his DNA. And so do something creative in the pass game, because I don't see him wanting to run the ball. That he just doesn't want to.
Fair enough. You're not going to change one Sean Payton. Trevor, I'm going to throw this over to you. Kenny Kirkpatrick comes in. He says, question for you all. Who has to step up on offense besides Sutton? Because if I'm a Raiders fan, I'm taking Sutton out of the game. And then what are we left with, Trevor? What are we left with? Who's he going to? Who needs to step up and be that number two, that true number two?
We talking about just wide receivers, or are we talking about just who need to step up with Sutton not being? If they just take Sutton completely out of the game, because I think that you need to start running the football against this team. One way to take Max Crosby out of this game, my opinion, is to run the football, down their throats even more. Because again, they're one of the worst Russian teams to stop, or one of the. Let me back up. One of the worst teams stopping the run around the NFL. So it's one of those things where I would take advantage of that if you can. Yeah, I don't think you need to totally have a run heavy game by no means, but I think that take advantage of what they what they don't do very well, and I think that run the football is going to be one of those bigger things in this game that you're going to have to do and help your quarterback out. But again, what I really like seeing out of Sean Payton the last couple of weeks is the balance attack. He's been going more balanced. It's now more Bo Nix passing 40 times, and I think we're seeing a different offense when he does go towards that more balanced attack. So if they're gonna take Cortland Sutton out of the game, I would just run the football. And I mean, not just run the football. If I had to give up one name that's gonna have to step up if they do take Cortland Sutton out in the passing game, I would say probably Josh Reynolds. I would say just because I think that he's probably arguably might be your number 2 best wide receiver right now. So it's gonna be tough, but I don't know that I see them completely taking anybody out of this game on the Broncos side of things. I don't think that they have that kind of corner like we have with PS2.
Very good. Jody, they double up on Sutton, take him out of the game, making it, one-on-one across the board. What wide receiver needs to step up in this game and be that true number 2? Who's going to take the pressure off? Who's Bo Nix going to go to?
If it's the same wide receivers that dressed last week, I'd like to see Troy Franklin step up and open up this deeper passing attack. If they're gonna completely take Sutton away, which I don't think they will. I've watched Josh Reynolds drop 2 big time passes now. Greg Dulcich is dropping passes. I really have the passes that have been thrown to Franklin. He has not dropped. I would like to see him maybe open things up a little bit, and then maybe that will allow someone else to, get open. But that's where I'm going to start Troy Franklin. I'd like to see him take the top off of some things.
Very good. Kenny, to answer your question from my perspective, Kenny, I'll go for a guy that wasn't listed on this injury report for the Denver Broncos, and a guy that's, caught 8 of 8 passes thrown his direction. That's one Devon Vele. I'd like to see Devon Vele come in here and be that guy. We all been disgruntled whenever we watch a Detroit Lions game, and we've been seeing Mr. Tim Patrick, reel in passes for them. Devon Vele, for all intents and purposes, looks the part of one Tim Patrick. And I think if we can get him going now that he's back and he's healthy and hopefully he gets that nod, that's where I'm going to go, because I do have concerns with Josh Reynolds and the fact that drops have kind of creeped back up. I have major concerns with the fact that we don't have a tight end that's any type of weapon in the receiving game that takes the field at this point. So we got to start looking around. Troy Franklin's just too far down on the drafted depth chart, I guess you could say, for me to say I want to go ahead and rely on him. I know Devon Vele is not that much further up, but it's a guy that's been already out there and he's already proven it with Bo Nix. So that's the guy I'm going to go with as far as a receiver stepping up and, being a good formidable piece. Roy is coming in here and says it's going to have to be Mims, Vele if he plays, and possibly, little Jordan Humphrey, who seemed to get ignored in this last game quite a bit. I thought there was some great opportunities. Pearl has a comment. I'm going to flip it into a question. She says, Greg Dulcich has to prove he can be an NFL player. Are we past that point, Trevor? Are you past that point of Greg Dulcich having the opportunity to go out there and prove that he's an NFL player? If not, how much longer does the gentleman get, Trevor?
Yeah, I mean, I think he definitely needs to go out there and prove, that he's worthy of being on this roster next year. I think, anytime you have a rookie quarterback, this team has to build around him after this year. After, again, here's hoping that Bo Nix is the guy, and he's shown clear signs of that this year. Again, you're going to need to put weapons around him. If Greg Dulcich isn't the guy, it's time to move on and find somebody who is. But I don't blame this all on the tight ends and wide receivers. I think Bo's got to be better getting the ball to them. Not putting a ton of pressure on Bo right now because we're only 4 games into the season and there's still a long ways to go and he's a rookie. But he's got to do a better job getting these guys the ball. And, maybe once you start doing that, we'll start seeing guys that are, going to be out there and going to be able to be part of this team long term as far as playmakers to put around Bo Nix. So, this year, Greg Dulcich, but he's not the only one that I would say needs to show that he can be, a part of this team long term. I think Greg Dulcich is an NFL player, but I don't know that he's going to be part of this team, after this season if he can't, pan out and show that he belongs on this team.
Very good. Jody, does Greg Dulcich have the opportunity to still prove he's an NFL player? And if so, how much longer does he have to prove this opportunity?
I still think he has time, but it's slipping away. When you get passes right in the hands from Bo Nix and he's dropping them, it's not really helping. And that goes with everyone, but especially Greg Dulcich, because we've sat around and we waited for 2 years. He's been injured. He's supposedly finally healthy, and then he comes back and really has done nothing. Drops balls. We've got other guys in the wings waiting that, supposedly had awesome training camps and whatever else. Well, if you're not cutting it, it's time for someone else to get some playing time.
Yeah, I agree there. I felt it leading in. As I was leading in, with my question and the tonality. But as much as I love Greg Dulcich coming in as a Denver Bronco, as much as I thought he was going to be a big part of this offense, at some point I agree with Jody. You got to start to turn the page a little bit and at least give other people opportunities. I mean, real opportunities, because we're using Troutman, we're using Adkins mainly as blockers, and every now and then they'll might get a passing opportunity. Like Kenny says, I think we're missing out on that opportunity to have a weapon on the field with a pass catching tight end like most NFL teams do. Eric Ramos was coming in and saying Raiders. Well, like I said, Eric, I appreciate you coming in. Be kind, be nice, and you'll be part of the show. And appreciate everyone coming in. Paul saying the trolls are coming in though. Well, we're welcoming everybody in. And Ernie Mays is saying boo, and the Raiders are near the dumpster facility. I'll just put it that way. Paul brings up a good point though, and we do need to talk about this just a little bit. I think we're only 15 minutes left, and pretty soon we're going to have to start talking game predictions. So everyone start thinking about that. Get those in the comments. But Paul's saying dysfunction in the Raidersville. Talk about that. Laugh out loud. Trevor, dysfunction is once again kind of abound from a topic that I know that you wanted to breach on our last podcast. So I'll let you kick it off, man, and kind of talk about some of the dysfunction. And let's face it, if we were Broncos fans and going through the same stuff, we'd be talking about this, about our opponent, being able to maybe get the better of us because of the position that we're in. Talk about the dysfunction that the Raiders have right now.
Yeah, well, obviously we all know that Davante Adams has requested a trade out of Las Vegas, and it sounds like the Jets and a couple other teams, the Cowboys, might be interested. For me, I don't think it's just necessarily the Raiders' fault, because I think Davante Adams, again, in their career, he's getting at the point where in his career he's gonna want to win. How close are the Raiders to actually winning? I mean, again, they have questions at quarterback, so it's one of those things where I think this was going to come eventually anyways, unless that they just, show it out and there was, clear, starting quarterback that they can get him the ball. And they, we're a team that could be a serious playoff threat. But I always thought this was coming, because here's the thing, guys, we have to remember this. When Davante Adams went to the Raiders, why did he go there? Mr. Derek Carr, his former teammate in college, that's why he wanted to go. So I think that's the thing where that's a whole big reason why he wanted to go there. So I think that, not having him there and Derek Carr being gone, I think is a big reason. And again, I'm a little surprised Davante stayed around for as long as he did. I think he gave it a try there in Las Vegas, but Unfortunately, just didn't work out, and I think he wants to be gone. But I'm not saying there's total dysfunction there with the Raiders when one guy wants to be gone. Just because of what's going on. I think that I think it's probably just best for both sides to move on at this point. But I don't necessarily there's total dysfunction. Or I agree that there's total dysfunction there with the Raiders right now. I just think there's a little bit of understanding that with one player, one star wide receiver, that it's just not going to work for either side to kind of be together long term.
Yeah, I'd have to agree. Jody, your thoughts on this, buddy?
Yeah, they're very dysfunctional over there right now. I mean, you got the coach liking tweets that Devontae wants traded. It's not good over there right now, and there's really not much more to say. I mean, he has a hamstring injury for the last 2 weeks. It's not a good situation over there. Their coach just got, he just got an 8-year college college coaching ban. It's a lot of dysfunction over there right now, and this is a game Denver needs to pounce on and put it away quick, like they did the Tampa game.
Yeah, got Clayton coming in saying a little bit late, Clayton, but hey, that's good, buddy. Okay, saying hey guys, and smash that like and share button. Always reminding me that we need to say that a little bit more often. We appreciate you guys. We've been growing, actually. Just looking at last month in our YouTube subscribers, nice little month, by the way. Thank you all for going out there and liking, sharing, subscribing, being part of the posse, because you guys make it happen. It's what it's all about. We've been kind of following your lead for most of the night, and I can't keep up. I'd love to have you all on here, get every single comment I possibly can up there. Even Kenneth the Menace, who's coming in saying Raiders are going to beat the horseshoes off the donkeys. Let's ride. Had to delete one of those other bad words that you put in one of your other comments, Kenneth. But hey, one of the things that I used to love is the fact that this used to be a true rivalry, back and forth and back and forth. And that's the best type of rivalry. Even when you take the loss, Broncos fans, even when you take the loss, there's something about that back and forth and that, just gritty, always know it's going to be a battle. Doesn't matter who's good, who's bad. It's a fight to the very bitter end. And that's what rivalries are all about. And that's honestly the Broncos Raiders games. That's what made them always the best. And so, I hope that the Raiders bring it. I hope that they play a heck of a game. There was a time I was on here saying, hey, if Gardner Minshew is one of our options, I'm not, ruling it out. Maybe a little bit of Minshew magic wouldn't be bad in Mile High. So that being said, there's some pieces there. There's some parts there, and Max Crosby is probably one of the scariest individuals to line up against any given Sunday. It'll be interesting to see what he brings. 70, 80, 90%, man, if he's 90%, we're going to have issues, and it's going to be something that we'll have to formulate against game plan wise. But I'm starting to get some of those predictions in, and I need you guys to start thinking about yours. Paul's coming in with a big one. Maybe it's because of all the trolls that he had in here trying to put him in their place here. But he's saying the Broncos 36, blanking the Raiders with a big old 0 in here. I'll get a few more in. Eric's coming in here. He thinks it's going to be a tight one. He thinks his Raiders will beat out the Broncos, though, in Mile High. Coming in on YouTube saying the Raiders 21, the Broncos 20, and just a nail biter. Oh, that would be just too much for me, man. I don't know if I could handle a 1-point loss after 2000, waiting since 2019 to get that close. So I appreciate the prediction, and believe me, I watched the NFL channel, and they kind of went off, and they went out with all their predictions. I was sitting there with my brother-in-law. They were all close scores, I don't think anybody had a real blowout. Ernie Mays has a blowout, though. He has Broncos 31, Raiders 8. I want to go ahead and head over to Jody first. We'll start that. We'll get a few more of these predictions in, but Jody, I'll get yours in. And as usual, I got my pen ready. I'm writing it down. What are you putting in pen this evening, sir?
I think this is the week we see a laser show from Bo Nix, and I have a 33-9 game, and I think Bo Nix throws 4 touchdowns.
Whew, boy. I thought some of these other ones were big, but we got the judge himself coming in with a big one. He's not alone, though. Pearl's coming in and saying, I have been saying 24-7 Broncos, but it might be closer, but the Broncos win. Clayton's coming in. He's got his prediction. He says 27-7 Broncos, baby. And Michael Ronquillo, the star giver this evening. By the way, my phone, I think, has died. If anybody else gave stars, appreciate you, love you. But Michael Ronquillo came in as well, and he says Broncos 50 to the Raiders 17. And he's laughing all the way to the bank. Laugh out loud. So let's see. Roy is coming in. He says, if Crosby plays 17-10, if not, it's 27-10 for the Broncos. No sacrificial lamb tonight, says Kenny Kirkpatrick. Boo-hoo. Broncos 16, Raiders 10. Travis is weighing it. Man, you guys are just blowing it up with these predictions. I'll get to Trevor in a second, me as well. Travis is coming in 24-13 Broncos. Crosby's getting old. I don't think Crosby's getting old. And Dan's coming in. Dan as well. Big prediction. Denver Broncos 30. Las Vegas Raiders 10. Man, you guys are excited about this game. I hope that it's all plays out like Jody and Dan and everybody else in here. Trevor, do you have a big blowout for the Broncos? Are we going to be celebrating in the streets a mile high?
I think we're going to be celebrating for sure. I have 21-10 Broncos. I think the defense will be huge in this one. I think we'll get a couple takeaways and put the offense in a great position, field position wise, and hopefully the offense can capitalize. But I'm not ready to say that the Broncos offense is going to gonna put up 50 points quite yet. I think I think they're going to take steps in the right direction, but I think the defense is going to be key in this game. And I think they're going to get after Mr. Gardner Minshew and really get some turnovers for this Denver Broncos team and put the offense in a great position to score.
Right on, buddy. Nice, beautiful win predicted by the Trevor. Level-headed guy, man. Shoots it straight. Tries to be even-keeled. Call a guy what he is, where he is, what he needs to be on the field on any given Sunday. And he's coming out with a nice little win. Wow, 21-10, says Trevor. Clayton, like he says, wow, love these scores. Paul's coming in. He's taking the judge for Jody from being judge straight for president. Congratulations, Judge. Take your bow later. Kenny says no Debbie Downer pick. Let's go, Trevor. All right. Well, no Debbie Downer pick from me, man. I thought I was going to come out here and like shock the world with my score prediction because I had the Denver Broncos winning 28-10 in this game. A little bit more than Trevor, a little less than Jody. As far as the Denver Broncos are concerned, and dang near dead even is all the way across the board. Jody coming in with 9, and both me and Trevor coming in with 10 for the Raiders. I think there's a lot of opportunity in this game. I think if the Broncos are going to take that next step, this is the game that they're going to have to start to do it, and it's a wounded team. We may not get this Raiders team as wounded as they are next time around. Take advantage, get on track, get the running game on track, get Bo Nix on track. Heck, wouldn't it be nice to go out there and say Greg Dulcich went for like 6 for 87 and a touchdown? I mean, let's get this team going. I think we have all the opportunity to do so. What a fantastic show tonight, guys. I said I was going to drop that Morgan Trinkets link, and I always forget to. So as I do that, Trevor, we'll start wrapping it up. I'll start with you, sir. Let's start to get out of here.
Yeah, so Mr. Paul Schrader came in here earlier and asked us a question about how many drops the Broncos have. and they have 6 on the season. So the Browns lead the league in the NFL with 17 drops, so they're first in the NFL. And the Giants, I think they have 12, and they're second in the NFL. So, I guess you can take it from what you want. If the drops are an issue or not, for me, they're not as big of an issue as they're kind of being talked about. But, we shall see. Hopefully they can clear up the drops going forward. But no, I just want to thank everybody again for joining us tonight. The posse was bumping it out on a great Friday night, and has some Raiders fans in here as well. And we appreciate the Raiders fans as well. Honestly, I mean, again, this is the Broncos podcast. We love our posse. But again, we appreciate the Raiders fans coming here, the respectful one and in a respectful way, come in here and comment. We're going to have a great discussion about, both teams. And, again, good luck to both teams. But again, I think it's going to be a Broncos victory, and time to snap that streak. 8-game losing streak, not 8 years. I need to clear myself up from earlier.
Let's not make it that long. No, I think we might be able to get that monkey off our back and maybe get on a winning side. And I think key. Let's face it. Both teams are 2-2. We have the Chiefs there at 4-0. If we want to keep track, these next 2 games could be monumental if we take away a couple of wins. Jody, that being said, man, we got to get out of here. It's a Friday night pregame show, man. It's been hopping. It's been popping, but we can't wait till Sunday. Help get us out of here, sir.
Let's end this 8-game losing streak to the Raiders. It's time that streak ends. Kansas City went away last year. Let's end the Raiders. It's time for Bo Nix to start to get things rolling, and hopefully this D can continue its elite, playing it at an elite level. And F the Raiders, and let's go.
So we went from Trevor saying we respect everybody and we appreciate everyone being in here to Jody maybe not being as kind to our Raider faithful who joined the show this evening. That being said, like I said, love it. Love the rivalry.
I say it with love.
With love. With love, he says. As most judges bring down their hammer. With love. No, Judge. That's where we're at, some of us. It's passion. It's passion on both fan bases. And that's what makes these rivalries great. I had a friend of my father who went in years ago to Oakland dressed completely out in orange and blue, and they didn't walk out with a dry piece of clothing as they were doused with beer the entire game in their orange and blue. It's the type of passion we have, and the type of passion we have against each other sometimes as well. I welcome the rivalry, but I also welcome the win that we're going to get come Sunday, because I feel it Broncos country. I hope it's one of those big ones like we predicted, some larger than others. But man, I think it's going to be a fantastic game. Don't forget, we have this Friday show that goes 7:30 p.m. Mountain Daylight Time. We have a Tuesday show that goes on 7:30 Mountain Daylight Time. But we also have that post-game show, and it should be a freaking good one come this Sunday. So don't forget, like, share, subscribe. Make sure that you're all locked in so you never miss. I don't know. One of our friends came in here and said, "Oh, I just got here. Good evening, gentlemen. I just came in." Rick says, "I'm too late." Don't worry. You can always go back. You can watch it on YouTube. You can watch it back on Facebook as well. But hey, get locked in so you don't ever miss out. That would be fantastic. Yeah, let's get that monkey off our back, like everyone's saying. Can't wait for this game. Can't wait for more of you all in the posse, man. Posse, you're going crazy. Appreciate you as we're getting out of here. I can't keep up with all these comments, including Michael Bronco coming in here and dropping more stars once again as we're getting out of here, saying great show tonight. Keith and Trevor and Jody, go Bo Broncos, big orange and blue heart, big mile high salute. And with that, everybody, we're going to get out of here like we always do. Remember, keep your feet, your boots right there in the stirrups. Keep your guns in your holsters. But the most important things, keep the Denver Broncos in your heart. Until next time, until Sunday postgame, we're out of here. Have a great night, everybody.
Bye.